Hey everybody, this is Kyle. Here's another episode of What Can We Learn From? Today we are taking a look at Frank Zappa and his song Peaches and Regalia. I've heard this song before, it's been a long time, and getting ready for this video, I know I've heard it, and I can remember different times I heard it, but for whatever reason, I don't remember how it goes. This song was suggested by my friend Shake Your Guitar Tutorials. If you have an idea for an artist or a song for me to take a look at, please let me know in the comments. Put me to work. So first thing, taking a look at this song. This is off Zappa's 1969 album, Hot Rats. And I'm going to start off saying this. I'm going to see if I can simplify Frank Zappa, because Frank Zappa is known as an absurdist. You know, coming up in the 60s and things, the idea of juxtaposition, the idea of irony. Take that album title, Hot Rats, as if you are serving rats as food. That's absurd, that's silly. To me, is the main focus point of Zappa. So some more information about this song. This is considered an instrumental jazz fusion composition, and it's been used as instrumental background music on a few BBC radio shows. Where I live in St. Louis, there's a classic rock radio station, KC95, and this is one of their classics. So I'm going to take a listen to this song. I can't share it because of copyright. Then we're going to talk about some of the details of the song, see what I can break down, see if I can simplify Zappa, and then we'll get to, what in the world can we learn from Zappa when it comes to songwriting and creativity. Okay, so I just listened to the song. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. And I remembered now why it just doesn't stick in my memory. Number one, it's instrumental, and it is very melody heavy. It's kind of like a jam session, kind of more structured than just, hey, we're just going to jam. Now, I'm looking at some chords here. Peaches and Regalia does change around a little bit. And something that struck me is I'm looking at the chords. In Frank Zappa's book, he talks about how a lot of music in the 60s was just a big ripoff of R&B. Now, in the Neil Diamond video in this series, where I'm looking at Sweet Caroline, and the melodic part of that leads into the verse and starts on the 2 chord. And this music by Zappa kind of plays around with this idea of a 2 chord going to another chord of the key. Now, what that means to people that don't know anything about music, note that music follows the alphabet. It's the letters A through G, at least in English. Of course, other languages use their alphabet. So if you are in the key of A, the second chord would be B, because it just goes in order, A, B, C, etc. So we're looking at a chord progression that starts with B and goes to another chord, and it appears to be an A for most of the time. Now, since there's no lyrics in this, I'm going to attempt to describe the atmosphere. This harkens back to why, for me specifically, I couldn't recall specifics of this tune. When I hear this tune, it seems like I'm listening to a soundtrack for a movie, that there is some sort of visual element going on. But I get the sense of that the music is really telling some sort of story. Now, what's interesting about that is a lot of times in a jam, you're improvising. Since this one is very melodic intensive, and this also makes me contrast this piece with something like the Grateful Dead, because the Grateful Dead are known for their jam pieces, being on a song and just really feeling the vibe. And what I said before about Zappa being an absurdist, it's like he's trying to jam purposely in a different way. I don't know about his musician selection back in the late 60s. I would assume it was growing to what, he was known for in the later 70s and 80s. He always had very, very high standards for musicians. He wanted the musicians to be very proficient with their instruments, and also proficient in moving from one genre, one style, one key to another at a moment's notice. Let me get to the lesson here. What can we learn from Zappa? Because I think this is where I can really simplify some of his ideas and make it relevant for, today's songwriters, today's creators, and things like that. Zappa's absurdist notions and sensibilities relied heavily on understanding the status quo, understanding what was popular. Now, in Zappa's time, music was a lot more centralized. And this is something I comment with people on my videos and things, because I always talk about what is awesome about music today. And yeah, you can hate all the stuff, but that's part of the point. There are so many different types of music today that you can find things that you really like. And as someone creating music today, trying to create content, it's all about finding your 10%. Meaning that if you share your content with 100 people, 90 of them probably aren't going to like it, because that's today's world. You need to find those 10 people out of the 100 that really do. And taking this idea of Zappa, really understanding what the status quo is. What is the current marketplace? What are the qualities? What are the traits? What are the expectations? And how can I do something different? Now, what Zappa did is he would purposely kind of take one aspect and flip it, make a joke out of it, kind of push the humor, because that was his personality. I think in today's world, the application is, how can you find your niche? Like here on YouTube, when I started doing reactions in 2021, I still kept doing the same frequency of original music. Twice a month, the first and third Thursday, sometimes I do extra. So many people would say, oh, Kyle, you don't do originals anymore. I'm like, for real? And here in 2022, I've gotten some comments from people, oh, good to see you're doing originals again. I'm like, I've been doing 2 a month at least since January of 2020. Since June of 2021, I've been doing almost weekly. But that just goes to support the point of being in a niche, finding some sort of narrow market for yourself. If you switch lanes, things kind of become whimsy wobbly, or whatever the Doctor Who quote is, and things become unpredictable. And with Zappa, he was predictably unpredictable. He was predictably absurdist. Now, it'd be ridiculous to say, here's how his next joke would be. You couldn't predict how he would be absurdist, but you knew he would. And that was part of the beauty of it, is it was always an exploration of humor, personality, high-level musicality. And to me, that's part of the fun of Zappa. Now, moving into summary here, I should say, I am not really a Zappa fan. I appreciate the heck out of what he did, his concepts. His musicality is just amazing. But when I hear his music, a lot of times I'm like, okay, it's outside my attention span. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means, for me personally, I'm just not connecting to it. Now, there are a few exceptions, of course, like watch out where them Huskies go and things. That was something we'd say as kids because we'd hear it on the radio, especially whenever it snows and things. But that's a fun part of creativity, is being able to enjoy something you might not personally like, and you can also really appreciate it. If you have an idea for an artist or a song, please let me know in the comments. Thank you to these patrons for making this video possible. Please consider signing up. It's $1 a month, weekly videos plus. I'll see you next time.